Well, it's been a magnificent comeback by New Zealand in this Bank Kalfala Jazz T20 series between Pakistan and New Zealand. Pakistan making 178 for 4. Perhaps short of runs in the end. Shadab Khan at the top contributing with that 41. Babar amongst the runs. And in response, New Zealand making it look rather simple. Mark Chapman once again amongst the runs. He seems to love batting against Pakistan. In Pakistan, he scored heaps of runs, averaging 46 overall, and it's been quite a comeback by New Zealand, winning by 7 wickets in the end. Hello and welcome to Pitchside. Now, huge congratulations to New Zealand for the kind of comeback that they've done. They've managed to redeem themselves, and they will now be entering the Lahore leg with a lot more confidence. For Pakistan, lots to reflect on, especially when you look at their batting. They perhaps felt that they would be short of runs. Also, their bowling as well. The pacers were unable to deliver at a time when they were required. Some positives, though, when you talk about Pakistan's batting. Shadab Khan scored that 41, and that contribution was quite handy in the end when you look at that total. He also joins us in our studio today. Shadab and Arooj Mumtaz join me. Shadab, पहले तो मैच के ऊपर बात कर लेते हैं थोड़ा सा. 170 समथिंग जो पाकिस्तान ने किया. आपने ऑब्वियसली वहाँ बैटिंग की. आपको लगता है कि रन्स कम थे?
जी बिल्कुल, मुझे लगता है कि क्योंकि पिंडी की पिच जिस तरह की आपको पता है कि इधर कंटेन करना मुश्किल होता है, तो मुझे लगता है कि 200 रन्स कर सकते थे जिस तरह का हमारा स्टार्ट हो चुका था. मिडल में उन्होंने बॉलिंग अच्छी की. मुझे लगता है कि हमें ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से यूटिलाइज़ कर सकते थे वो चीज़.
फील्डिंग में भी कुछ लैप्सेस नजर आए पाकिस्तान की तरफ से. कुछ मौके थे जो हमने देखा. एक नहीं, काफ़ी मौके मिले थे पाकिस्तान को, तो वो 3 कैचेस ड्रॉप हुए.
देखिए, कैचेस विन मैचेस, आपको पता है ये तो, क्योंकि जब तक हम स्पेशली चैपमैन ऐसा प्लेयर है कि अगर उसके कैचेस ड्रॉप होंगे तो वो आपको, क्योंकि जिस तरह का उसका रिकॉर्ड है हमेशा से हमारे खिलाफ वो बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म करता है. तो आप जब ऐसे प्लेयर के कैचेस छोड़ेंगे स्पेशली ऐसी कंडीशन में तो पे ऑफ करना पड़ता है.
देखिए, फील्डिंग तो पाकिस्तान की ऑब्वियसली आज वाज़न्ट अप टू द मार्क, बट वन थिंग दैट वाज अप टू द मार्क वाज योर बैटिंग. और हम देख रहे हैं कि जब से पीएसएल से एक्चुअली आपका अपना फॉर्म जो है बैट के साथ वो भी नज़र आ रहा है, बॉलिंग के साथ भी नज़र आ रहा है. बट यू नो यू आर बैटिंग 1 डाउन इन पीएसएल, यू बीन कमिंग अप द ऑर्डर. और आज रिजवान जो थे वो इंजर हो गए, तो आपको मौका दिया गया. क्या कह सकते हैं, कह सकते हैं कि आपको वो जो टॉप ऑर्डर है उसमें बैटिंग करना पसंद है?
डेफिनेटली मुझे पसंद है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे आपके पास टाइम होता है कि आप अगर डॉट बॉल भी होते हैं तो आप बाद में कवर कर सकते हैं. तो आज अनफॉर्चुनेटली रिजवी भाई इंजर्ड हो गए थे, तो मुझे चांस मिला. लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जिस तरह बात भी है कि फ्लोटर टाइप मुझे यूज़ किया जाएगा, तो उसमें भी मैं कंफर्टेबल हूँ. क्योंकि अगर मुझे फ्लोटर भी यूज़ किया जाता है, अगर मेरी वजह से अगर मैं अच्छी बैटिंग करूँगा तो डेफिनेटली मेरी टीम को फ़ायदा होगा कि हम एक्स्ट्रा बॉलर और एक्स्ट्रा बैट्समैन भी खिला सकते हैं. क्योंकि अगर मैं टॉप ऑर्डर में खेलता हूँ, जैसे हम इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड में हमारी स्ट्रेटजी यही थी कि अगर मैं परफॉर्म करता हूँ, नहीं भी करता, स्टिल हमारे पास वो ऑप्शन होता है कि हम कवर अप कर सकते हैं. तो डेफिनेटली मैं चाहता यही हूँ, लेकिन जब टीम की जहाँ ज़रूरत होती है तो एज ए प्रोफेशनल आपको वहाँ भी खेलना पड़ता है.
आई थिंक ऑन दैट आई एग्री विद शादाब जो बात करें, क्योंकि वो जितना एक्सपीरियंस है आई थिंक 2020 या 2021 के पीएसएल से अपने आप को प्रमोट करें और कंसिस्टेंटली इस्लामाबाद के लिए 3 और 4 पे खेलते हैं. अच्छा, 3 और 4 पे खेलना अलग बात है, बट वहाँ परफॉर्म भी करना, तो उसमें भी कंसिस्टेंटली परफॉर्म करें. सो अभी मैंने बाबर से प्रेजेंटेशन पे भी पूछा था, फ्लोटर में भी आई थिंक थोड़ा सा और परमानेंट टॉप ऑर्डर का हिस्सा भी ये बन सकते हैं. क्योंकि जब हमने वो स्ट्राइक रेट्स की बात की, लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट T20 इज अबाउट स्ट्राइक रेट्स. शाहिद खान आफरीदी के बाद शादाब का पाकिस्तान में सबसे अच्छा स्ट्राइक रेट है. तो क्यों ना ऐसे बंदे को, जहां वो सबसे ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव है और वो रिपीटेडली कर चुका है. और जो दूसरी बात शादाब ने की कि अगर वो आउट भी हो जाता है, बॉलें ज़ाया नहीं होंगी, और प्लस आपके पास फिर भी वो नीचे फायर पावर है और वो एक्सपीरियंस है कि आपकी इनिंग संभल जानी चाहिए और फिर भी रन होने चाहिए. सो आई थिंक पाकिस्तान कैन लुक इन टू दिस now with the way the T20 game has evolved. You need players from start to finish to keep striking.
अच्छा, ये बताएं कि ऑब्वियसली आपने कहा है कि एक फ्लोटर के रोल की बात हो रही है कि जहाँ पे भी आपको भेजा जाएगा, जिस नंबर पे भी भेजा गया, लेकिन एक होता है ना कि एक प्लेयर की अपनी एक पर्सनल प्रेफरेंस भी होती है. तो मैं थोड़ा सा
आप कौन सा वाला जवाब चाहती हैं, मैं बता दूं.
मैं आपको उंगल करना चाहती हूँ. मैं उंगल करना चाहती हूँ, आपसे जवाब निकलवाना चाहती हूँ ताकि आप मुझे एग्जैक्ट आंसर दें. बिकॉज यू सी हर प्लेयर का एक कंफर्ट जोन होता है जहाँ पे उनको पता होता है कि जी मैं टॉप 3 में ज़्यादा अच्छा कर लेता हूँ या मिडिल ऑर्डर में या लोअर मिडिल ऑर्डर में। तो आई एम श्योर कि आपका भी इस लिहाज से आपको ये ज़रूर फ़ील होता होगा जिस तरह आपने पीएसएल में परफॉर्म किया है कि दिस इज़ अ स्पॉट दैट यू प्रेफर। इट डज़न्ट मीन कि आप बाकी नंबर्स पे परफॉर्म नहीं कर सकते। इट जस्ट मीन्स कि इस नंबर पे आप ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल हो।
देखिए मैं 1 डाउन और 2 डाउन खेला हूँ पीएसएल में, तो मुझे लगता है मैं ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल हूँ वहाँ पे। लेकिन वही दोबारा वही सेम बात है कि फ्लोटर के तौर पर भी मुझे यूज़ किया जाए तो उसमें भी मुझे कोई इशू नहीं है, क्योंकि उसमें भी अगर मुझे चांस मिलता है तो स्टिल वही प्लानिंग होगी कि अगर मेरे रन्स होते हैं, क्योंकि मैं ऐसा प्लेयर हूँ कि मैं क्विक क्विक रन्स करूँगा और जिससे टीम को ज़्यादा, क्योंकि कभी कभार आपको इम्पैक्टफुल इनिंग्स चाहिए होती है और मोस्टली आजकल की T20 क्रिकेट में जो स्ट्राइक रेट की बात की गई है वो इम्पैक्टफुल इनिंग्स की वजह से होगा। अगर आप इम्पैक्टफुल इनिंग्स नहीं खेलेंगे, कंसिस्टेंट रन्स करना मुझे लगता है T20 में मुश्किल नहीं है, लेकिन इम्पैक्टफुल इनिंग्स खेलना मुश्किल है।
बिल्कुल, और इम्पैक्ट करने के लिए आपका स्ट्राइक रेट जैसे कि अरूज ने बताया कि इट्स द सेकंड बेस्ट एवर फॉर पाकिस्तान, व्हिच इज़ व्हाई अरूज कि जब आप देखते हो कि किसी का ऐसा स्ट्राइक रेट है, तो डोंट यू वांट हिम टू बी फेसिंग द मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ बॉल्स। बट एनीवे लेट्स कैरी द डिस्कशन। आप कुछ पूछना चाह रही थी?
नहीं, एज अपोज टू आपकी बात में कंटिन्यू कर लूँ, एज अपोज टू पुटिंग हिम इन अ डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन जहाँ मैच फंसा हुआ या मैच जिताना, सो आई स्टिल फील, और अभी हमने वो ग्राफिक भी देखा कि आफरीदी के बाद शादाब का 140 का स्ट्राइक रेट, और शादाब हम ये बात इसलिए भी करें क्योंकि पाकिस्तान के पे एक ही प्लेयर ऐसा है जिसकी हिस्ट्री में 140 से ऊपर स्ट्राइक रेट है, शाहिद खान आफरीदी। अब आप वहाँ पहुँचे, आपका 139 था इससे पहले, बट उसके अलावा बाकी जो बड़ी टीम है, जो ब्रांड ऑफ क्रिकेट T20 जिस तरह आपने भी बात की कि इम्पैक्टफुल खेलती हैं, उनके पास 5, 6, 7 इस किस्म के प्लेयर हैं। तो जनरली जो ब्रांड ऑफ क्रिकेट अब इवॉल्व हो रही है, आपको कहाँ लगता है कि पाकिस्तान को कौन से ऐसे शोबे में करना पड़ेगा कि हम वो T20 टाइटल्स लिफ्ट करना शुरू करें?
लेकिन कुछ ना कुछ हमारे से गलती हो रही है कि हम इतना करीब आके हम जो चीज़ें नहीं जीत पा रहे, तो डेफिनेटली कुछ हमारी मिस्टेक्स हैं और मुझे लगता है कि वो आइडेंटिफाई कर ली गई हैं। और जितना ज़्यादा जल्दी हम, क्योंकि अब वर्ल्ड कप सर पे आ गया और हमारे पास इतना टाइम नहीं है, तो हमें प्लेयर आइडेंटिफाई कर लेने चाहिए कि हमारे पास ये प्लेयर्स हैं, ये पूल है और ये इस स्टेज पर और जो भी इनको सिचुएशन दी जाएगी वो परफॉर्म करेंगे, क्योंकि नंबर 5, 6, 7 ये सबसे हार्ड जॉब है T20 क्रिकेट में, क्योंकि कभी कभार आपको सिचुएशन ऐसी मिलती है कि आपको बॉल 1 से जाके आपको अच्छे स्ट्राइक रेट के साथ परफॉर्म करना पड़ता है और कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि आपकी अर्ली विकेट गिर चुकी होती हैं और आपने टीम को पूरा संभालना होता है। तो मुझे लगता है जो ये नंबर्स हैं सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है और इसके लिए हम कोशिश भी कर रहे हैं कि वो प्लेयर्स आइडेंटिफाई, जिस तरह अब नियाजी आया है वो ऐसे नंबर पे परफॉर्म करके आया है, तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि उसको एक अच्छा रन दे दें ताकि हमें भी उस पे कॉन्फिडेंस हो और उसका टेम्परामेंट भी देखा जाए कि इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट में, क्योंकि इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट टेम्परामेंट की गेम है, तो जिसका अच्छा टेम्परामेंट होता है वो इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट अच्छा
9 मैच रह गए, अब ये कोशिश जल्दी से कर लें।
देखिए मेरे पे आए तो मैं तो भी कर रहा हूँ।
नहीं, हम किसी को ब्लेम नहीं कर रहे,
ब्लेम करना भी नहीं चाहिए।
नहीं,
पॉजिटिव डिस्कशन कर रहे
हम
हैं।
पॉजिटिव कंस्ट्रक्टिव एक डिस्कशन चल रही है। आगे आयरलैंड और इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ मैचेस हैं और इंग्लैंड की टीम काफी तगड़ी है। आई थिंक होपफुली तब तक काफी चीजें फिगर आउट हो जाएंगी। ये सारी जो हमारी डिस्कशन हो रही है कि कौन कहाँ खेलेगा और क्या नंबर्स होंगे, ऑफ कोर्स फ्लोटर जिसे कहते हैं वो तो होता ही है मैच के मुताबिक, बट देन एक स्ट्रैटेजी तो होनी चाहिए बिफोर द वर्ल्ड कप।
देखिए मुझे लगता है कि अभी भी ना थोड़ा हमें टाइम देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मैनेजमेंट चेंज हुई है। हर मैनेजमेंट की अपनी एक माइंडसेट होता है कि वो किस माइंडसेट के साथ खेल रहे हैं। जो अभी अज्जू भाई आए हैं, जो हमारे हेड कोच आएंगे, क्योंकि वो नेक्स्ट सीरीज़ में हमें ज्वाइन करेंगे, उनके साथ हमने कभी काम नहीं किया, उन्होंने ना हमें देखा हुआ है, ओबियसली टीवी पे देखा होगा, लेकिन एज ए पर्सन मुझे नहीं लगता कि हम लोग कुछ ऐसे प्लेयर्स हैं जो उनसे मिले हों, तो काफ़ी मुश्किल हो जाता है कि प्लेयर और कोच की साइकी समझना भी। और डेफिनेटली जब वो आएंगे तो हमारे पास इतना टाइम नहीं है, तो हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि जितनी ज़्यादा जल्दी, और डेफिनेटली उनके पास इतना टाइम भी नहीं है कि वो ज़्यादा टाइम ले सकें, तो जल्दी से जल्दी हमें सब चीज़ें आइडेंटिफाई कर लेनी चाहिए।
बिल्कुल, ये सारी चीजें पहले फिगर आउट करनी पड़ेंगी। बट थैंक यू सो मच शादाब फॉर योर टाइम। रावलपिंडी का जो सफर है खत्म होता है, नाउ विल बी मूविंग टू द लाहौर लेग। वी गोना टेक अ शॉर्ट ब्रेक एंड व्हेन वी डू कम बैक विल बी हैविंग a closer look at what went wrong for Pakistan and obviously what went right for New Zealand. So don't go anywhere. Back on pitch side, and New Zealand have one too many reasons to be happy today. They've won the third T20 international here at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium, and we will be moving to Lahore Gaddafi Stadium for the remaining games. I've been joined now by Chris Harris. Chris, well done to New Zealand. This is exactly the kind of fight back that we expected from them, and really it was set up nicely in the end with that performance by Mark Chapman.
Yeah, it was a superb performance. We said after the second T20 that they're going to have to go away and learn quickly, and boy, what a superb performance. Not only to win, but to win comfortably. Yep. I talked about senior players having to stand up and hopefully having some cameo performances from some of the younger or emerging players. Well, Mark Chapman, absolutely magnificent senior player, just stood up. I mean, that was a magnificent T20 innings. He loves it here. He scored 100 here not long ago, 2 years ago. And then come back, and he just loves playing in Pakistan. And I thought Tim Seifert and Tim Robinson at the top of the order set up the innings for New Zealand. There's obviously lots to talk about from a bowling performance, which I thought was really good with two debutants, but a superb performance from New Zealand after what we saw one night ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Chapman, you know, he seemed to have taken a liking towards Pakistan. Over 400 runs against Pakistan, averaging 46, 160 is the strike rate. I mean, the numbers are looking great, which is why he's also our master blaster for today.
Yeah, this particular love affair with Pakistan is something what New Zealand will want to continue. He came out quite assured. He came out when they were a few wickets down. But again, look at that clean striking. That is what is impressive. The control with his ball striking. And he's very, very assured of where the ball is going. So I think it was a innings of authority. And like Chris said, more importantly, to get them over the line. Yeah, played to all parts, swept well, and in particular looked really impressive when he hit down the ground. That's where 3 of his 4 sixes came from. He nudged the ball around quite nicely, and in the end he picked up the, 9 fours and 4 sixes, 207 the strike rate, and that's how you play T20 cricket to win games.
Do you see him in the T20 World Cup squad at all, Chris?
Absolutely. When you look at this side, I mean, there's 15 top players that aren't here, but Mark Chapman, for me, through his last couple of years and his performance, is certainly one that will be in the side for me. I mean, he's typical of the modern T20 player, their ability to score all around the ground, yep, and his ability to hit sixes. And he came in from ball 1 or ball 2 and just played magnificently, positively, looked to hit boundaries if he couldn't hit boundaries. What also he does very well was run between the wickets. I mean, they picked up so many twos when it went to the outfield, and that just helps take pressure off. And I was also very impressed with Dean Foxcroft, only playing in his second T20 international, was put under pressure, didn't score very quickly. His run rate was probably slow, but then he pulled it back. And I mean, to be part of a 100-run partnership, that's going to win you more games than most. So absolutely see Mark Chapman part of this New Zealand T20 World Cup side.
And deservedly so, the way he's been batting. When Pakistan, when they were batting, it seemed like they were cruising in that power play, but then there was a bit of a stop-start situation from them with the game slowed down and a couple of soft dismissals as well. Let's have a look at the fall of wickets.
Simon Babar, they came out. Simon, in his fashion, started off. He had a couple of chances. It wasn't long before his wicket fell for 32. And then came in Mohammad Rizwan Sodhi with that wicket. Rizwan was having a tough outing. On the other end, Babar Azam was under pressure as well. He slashed 1 to backward point for 37. And then Usman Khan, maybe 1 too many again. Another opportunity for him. It was Sodhi again with his second wicket. Good sharp catch for Duffy. Shadab Khan, he was the one who provided all the runs towards the backhand, and then he lost his wicket for 41.
Well, lots of opportunities given to some of the new players of New Zealand. It makes it an interesting case as to what the final 11 will be. When you're talking about the bowling of New Zealand, what do you think? Who do you think is really going to make it into that 11? Not 11, well, the squad for the T20 World Cup.
It's going to be tough for the bowlers here. I mean, when you look at what's been left behind, Tim Southey, Trent Bolt, Adam Milne, Lockie Ferguson, but there is an opportunity for one or two of these seamers to definitely be in the squad. I was so impressed with Will O'Rourke's had a taste of international cricket. We've seen that at test matches and one-day cricket, he's a fine bowler. So a little bit easier for him because he's had a taste of it. But thought he bowled well and he had to bowl some difficult overs. He'll feel as though he was a little bit expensive. But Zach Folkes as well, I thought, in his first outing, he would have loved to have got a wicket and go for a few less runs. But I thought, again, he bowled tough overs at the top. And I thought his last 3 balls of the innings really meant that New Zealand took momentum into the break. I thought he bowled superbly under pressure. I mean, I think he went for 39 or 40, but I thought it was a really, really good first outing. But it's going to be very tough for any of these players to get into that T20 World Cup side. But there's a couple of opportunities to make the squad.
I think the real question, though, for Pakistan, Arooj, is not really about who plays, because there are certain players that are a given, the likes of Shadab. He's done really well in the PSL, come back. And then, of course, Babar is there. But when you talk about that top 3, it's a conundrum. Where does Mohammad Rizwan slot in? Because you're looking at maximizing those top 3 in terms of their role, their contributions, a lot of conjecture around strike rates as well. Where does Mohammad Rizwan play, or does he play at all? Because you've got to ask these questions at some point.
True.
You're looking at your best 11, so I'm asking you.
And you want to ask these questions now, not at the eve of the practice game for the T20 World Cup. Let me lay the groundwork here for you, right? You're talking about the top 3 or the top 4. Now, Rizwan and Babar's strike rate since 2020 in the power play is 122. 122 and 122. Usman Khan, yes, sample size is small. He's only got 25 or 23 innings in that top 3, strikes it at 144 plus, right? So it's about getting ahead of the game. It's about the brand of cricket that we have to play. Shadab made a good point when he was here as well. So now, if we want Usman to bat at 3, where I would slot him in, does Rizwan make the cut at for 4? With the way Shadab's playing, I think Shadab comes in at 4. Then comes your question, does Rizwan even make the team? Does he play in your first 11? And Usman can keep wicket. Yes, he dropped one sharp catch today, fair enough, but that's something that Pakistan can work on. So again, it's about the strike rates. They matter the most up the order. You saw the 2 Tims from New Zealand come hard at us. So that's what I am talking about. Shadab Khan, we saw the strike rate at 140. Saim, we know, will not waste balls. And even if Usman loses his wicket at 3, we've got enough firepower. We've got the Shadabs, we've got Iftikhar, we've got Azam, we've got Imad Wasim, we've got all of those guys. Even Irfan Khan Niazi was impressive. We've got all of those guys to still get us over the line. The problem is, can we afford 2 guys who strike rate at 122 in that power play?
Well, there you heard it. I think there's plenty to think for that think tank in the Pakistan cricket side, because they have a lot of options at this point of time to see who slots in where. But we'll be talking more about that after the short break. Back on pitch side, and the Pakistan Pacers went for plenty today. Lots of pace there, but they weren't very effective. Whereas the New Zealand bowling attack, you've got to say that they put up quite a show today, especially with the amount of speeds that we saw on showcase. Let's have a look at the fastest delivery of the game. Well, you had Will O'Rourke. He's the debutant at 144, right at the top. Behind him, Naseem Shah is quite expensive today. He's got speed, but obviously couldn't execute his line and length properly today. But then you've got Will O'Rourke once again at 4 and 5, 141.5 at 4, and 141 at that number 5 spot as well. Right, so the Rawalpindi leg has ended, and it's ended after that first T20 match was washed out. Pakistan won the second one. New Zealand has now won the third one. And now the series moves to Lahore, which makes it really interesting, Arooj, because now the series has been levelled.
Well, the series has been It probably just puts New Zealand slightly on the back foot because it'll be different conditions. The Lahore wicket never as easy to bat on. So again, the younger, internationally younger side will take a little bit of time. They were very quick to learn, but Pakistan under the pump. Remember, Pakistan is playing a full-strength side, full-strength batting side, full-strength bowling side, and that is just a little bit of spot of bother.
I have to disagree. I think New Zealand have got on the front foot because we've come with all the momentum. We've just won. We've won well after a poor performance. So they're going to be going to Lahore with full of confidence. So I think
That'll actually be brilliant. If that's the case, that'll be brilliant because it just applies more pressure on Pakistan, not allowing them any breathing room and to get their homework done ahead of time as opposed to, again, like when Shadab says, during the Ireland and the England World T20 series.
Well, I think it'll be different conditions altogether, so there will be a bit of adjustment required, but New Zealand can take a lot of confidence from the way they played. Lahore, as a venue, you've seen a lot of games there, you've seen how the pitches play. What's your prediction then for the next one?
Yeah, it won't be roads like in Islamabad. Yesterday was a difficult surface, but the ball will grip and turn a little bit. They won't be as high scoring. It'll be interesting to see what Pakistan has asked for in terms of the surface, wanting to replicate the conditions they will be playing at. So, but again, I think Pakistan has themselves to blame with the strategies and the kind of performances they've put up. And they should be quicker to adapt to their home conditions as opposed to New Zealand. So, but it should be a good fight, and Pakistan would want to come out. Last time, remember, they drew the series to aside. I'm sure Pakistan will want to come out on a win. Not again a draw. Come on, Chris. No.
Look, I absolutely think the confidence they've gained from this, and I agree, I think 2-2 sounds good to me. It'll be a good result. But I totally agree. The confidence the younger players have got from this performance, particularly, as I said, after a really poor performance. Yep. Really impressed with the two openers today. Great intent, got the side off to a great start. Mark Chapman, obviously sensational. Yep. We've seen him do it before, though, and hopefully he'll continue with that form. But also, Dean Foxcross, I was impressed with. He was under pressure because his run rate wasn't good enough. Yep. But then he stuck it out with Mark Chapman, and that became a match-winning partnership. So, and I thought all the bowlers were exceptional. Ish Sodhi again. Look, the only one area I think we need to improve, in all honesty, was some mistakes in the field, which could have been costing, could have cost us the match. Yep. We dropped Shadab and Irib, I think, in the second over. Two catches that you'd expect at this level to be taken. So that's one area they'd like to improve, but I firmly believe the confidence they gained from this match has put them in great stead heading to Lahore.
Well, Pakistan returned the favour by dropping those catches equally when they were out there in the field. So it was fair play in the end. All right, thank you so much, Chris, and thank you so much, Rouge. Once again, it's always been a pleasure to have both of you here. Let's have a look at what we have ahead in this Bank Kalfala Presents Jazz T20 series between Pakistan and New Zealand. We meet you once again on the 25th. There's a bit of a gap now. We'll be taking a bit of a breather and then meeting you on Thursday at 6:50 p.m. Fantastic game of cricket. The crowd in Pindi has been amazing as always. So huge thank you to you for coming out in huge numbers, and a huge congratulations to New Zealand. But that's pretty much all that we have for you from here. We'll see you guys in Lahore.